Alright, so I figured it'd be kind of neat to do a little tour of the Antarctic Fire Department down here. And for reference, it's 11 o'clock at night right now, and the sun is still perfectly bright outside because we're in our 6 months of brightness. So everyone's in bed or upstairs on their own time, so I'm going to be kind of whispery, so I'm not being loud. But I'm starting in the bay. The ambulance is nothing special. Inside is all the supplies you're familiar with. We don't carry any special tools or drugs or anything because of where we're at. It's a paramedic ambulance, nothing special. In fact, it's pretty basic. We only carry what we have to and not a lot extra. And since we have 3 on shift right now, I'm splitting the difference between the ambulance and the engine, depending on what the call is. So I kind of have my boots set up and my gear in the ambulance, and if I need to hop on the engine, I can just reach and grab it, or if it's an ambulance call, throw my pants on, go around and take the ambulance. But the engines are made by Pierce. There's 2 of them, ordered at the same time, built to the same specs. Nothing, they're twins, nothing different between the 2. Really, the only difference between a normal Pierce back home and this is that it's built on like an aircraft rescue chassis, so it's a little heavier duty, it's all-wheel drive, and when you shift it to pump, there's a couple of extra steps to get it to go from drive to pump or pump to drive, but that's about it. One kind of interesting fact to show is that because it is so cold down here, we have extra heaters on the truck for the pump and the tank and whatnot. So instead of 1 shoreline for power, we have 5. Those 3, and there's 2 kind of up here where you would normally expect them, but we're inside, it's warm, so we just have the battery charger plugged in. But like I said, if you're familiar with Pierce, you'd be perfectly comfortable with this truck. Just rides a little higher off the ground, more or less. No special tools. Engineer's cabinet, hand tools. Again, nothing super secret special. Go inside now. And before I go inside, there is another video of a tour of the station here that's a couple years old. This white wall with the doors here isn't in that video. This is new, or at least only a few years old. And so if you find that video, it's kind of confusing, but you can tell based on the gray colored floor, and there's red poles that you'll see in that video that are on the back side of this wall. So right now we're kind of painting the doors and freshening up. So the door to upstairs is just kind of hanging open, so that's why I'm being kind of super secret whispery, just so my voice doesn't carry up the stairs and annoy people. But here's a little workshop tool room where we have extra parts, extra SCBA parts, and toolbox, all the good stuff, and all our spare SCBA bottles, fire extinguishers. It's not a big room. There's not a lot that we can do in here, but we can do enough in here most of the time. All our little gear lockers. The blue bags are our linen, because when we get down here, we get issued linen. So some people keep it upstairs in the rooms they sleep in. Some keep it down here because when we go to the one airfield, we have to bring it with when we sleep out there. So that's what the blue bags are if you're curious. And other than that, nothing too crazy. Here's our kitchen. Now, food down here is a little different than back home. The galley is in that blue building over there, and they serve breakfast, lunch, dinner, midnight rations, brunch sometimes. So We don't usually cook a whole lot together in here like a normal fire station would, but every once in a while we'll come up with something we want to do instead, and it can be done. We have done it, but more or less we just grab radios when it's time to eat and go next door. But that being said, we do keep some frozen stuff in the freezer. We have a bunch of different, instant soups and snacks and candy and snacky stuff, and if you don't really want what's on the menu tonight, you can get by here pretty well. Here's our kind of training meeting room, and kind of another unofficial use for this room is a lot of people, when they want to work on their computers and have a little more space to themselves, but don't want to go up to the room because it's too early, or they don't want to completely segregate themselves from the rest of the group, like to work in here, have a little desk space. It's away from most of the noise and nonsense that goes on around here, like any firehouse you'd be familiar with. The whiteboard of knowledge with all the in-service, out-of-service trucks we have, and where they're at, and how many miles are on them, and when they're next due for maintenance and all that good stuff. Behind that door, I'm not opening because it's dark and it's boring. It's just a supply closet with tape and staplers and pens, pencils, all that good stuff. And here's our day room. We watch a lot of movies, especially at the airfield when flights are canceled, but even here. Or people play video games on the TV. And we've gotten quite masterful at hooking our computers up to the TV with cables and watching stuff off of them. Because down here there's only 3 movie channels, and the way they work is to allow everyone to have a chance to watch a movie they want to see. It'll be the same movies on repeat for 24 hours. And so you'll very often get bored or just not interested in what's showing today. We have a couple TV channels, but most of them are news or informational channels for here, such as Weather Channel for here, and upcoming events and flight information, planes that are canceled or delayed, or when the next flight is, that kind of thing. So you very quickly run out of stuff to either watch, or in the case of some of the radio channels, listen to, because radio channels are also broadcast to the TV. Here's our little balcony deck with a makeshift barbecue, and a lot of people step out here to smoke, and just a little porch to get outside, get some air if you want. You may notice we don't have a workout area. Small station, we don't have the room for it. But we're allowed to, once the work is done for the day and we're on personal time, go to the gym, go to the weight room. If you want to, go to the coffee house, read a book for a while, go sit over there. Basically, as long as you keep a radio with you, the lieutenant knows where you're at, and you respond to calls, they're pretty good, pretty relaxed about letting people go escape to different places on station, as long as you're reasonable and do what you got to do. Behind this little half-sized door is our sauna in the station, which is big enough for one comfortably, or like 3 or 4 if you're really good friends with people. But it's the smallest sauna on station. It's also the saddest in that it takes forever to heat up. It doesn't get particularly warm. It doesn't steam up real well. It works if you're here and you don't want to go to one of the other saunas in a dorm somewhere. You want to be in station and just warm up, heat up for a bit. It works, but it's not great. Here's the lieutenant's office. In theory, in name, they're not super picky about computers. So if the lieutenant's in here working and I got to snag a computer to enter truck checks or hydrant checks, I can snag the other computer. No one's going to say anything. It's not like, this is the lieutenant's room, all you lower people stay at. That's not the kind of culture here. Everyone's decent. Everyone gets along. Here is what is in the winter, the dispatch room. So this is where the fire dispatcher would be during the winter season when dispatch is in this building. Right now, since it's summer, it's an empty room full of a bunch of things with buttons that we're not allowed to touch or look at or think about touching or acknowledge exist. But a couple of computers, the computers we can log into to use. But other than that, the phones have sticky notes that say don't touch, don't use. There's paging stuff and alarm stuff for the station, for the bells and stuff. But if we're not dispatched, we don't touch it. And frankly, it's too complicated for me to understand anyway. Well, with that being downstairs, because again, small station, I'm gonna head upstairs and kind of show off upstairs. Now, since people are asleep in their rooms and I don't want to bother them, and the other rooms up there are offices, I'll kind of describe the pattern I'm going to show you, so you know kind of what door you're looking at. But I'm not going to go into any of them except my room, give you a little look at that, and that'll be the end of the video. So at the top of the stairs to the right, there's a row of offices. And at the far end of the hallway is one of the bunk rooms, which has actual bunk beds. Small room, not a lot of airflow, not super special. I haven't really slept in that room. I kind of avoid that room just because I don't like it. To the left of the top of the stairs, you're actually right in front of the top of the stairs, is the lieutenant's bedroom. And then to the left, down that hallway, the far door, right at the end of the hallway, is the 4-person bedroom, which is 4 beds lined up next to each other, TV. Not bad. I usually pick that room. That's the room I've kind of attached myself to lately. But tonight I'm staying in what, when this was run by the Navy, it's very clearly like a officer's bedroom or senior enlisted men's room, that kind of thing, with only 2 beds, nice little wall lights, nice, wood paneling. Well, for the 70s it was nice wood paneling, but just a nicer kind of smaller bedroom. And that's the one I'm staying in tonight, so I'll go in there, kind of show the camera around, and then kind of peace out and show you the view outside the window tonight and give you thanks for watching. So with that, let's head upstairs. I forgot to mention that room I'll point the phone through in a minute is a telephone switchboard, but there's no one in it right now, so it's dark. But that's what this room is. Oh man, still warm in here. I never thought I'd be in the Antarctic complaining about how hot it is, but it's roasting in here even with the window cracked. But there's my view tonight. And there was a little tour of the fire station, so thank you for watching.